Power anywhere where there's people. You are now tuned into People City Propaganda, a podcast from People City Council. I'm your host, Jason Reedy, organizer of People City Council, father to an almost 1-year-old, and a 9-time marathon finisher. I put that last part so people know that I don't just run my mouth. My co-host today is Albert Corado.
How you doing, man? Harawa.
Yeah. What's good, Albert? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
For full disclosure, I'm still very sweaty from having played basketball like half an hour ago. So you're seeing me at my most manic right now. So let's get into it, baby.
Really quickly, what is People City Propaganda? Well, it's a passion project covering Los Angeles politics, pigs and pork chops, organizing and the likes. It was birthed out of a Twitter space we put on last year called Monday Morning Pig Roast and has now matured to something we thought we'd never do, a podcast. Ultimately, this is our love letter to the movement, an offering that will hopefully provide a different perspective on Los Angeles' most important and debated issues. We are recording this podcast at our home, the Robinson Space, so it's fitting that our first episode be on the Robinson Space.
That's right.
What is the Robinson Space? Well, it's a place for building just futures in Los Angeles. Our mission is to create and sustain a third space, that provides opportunities for community members to actively participate in building toward a more equitable and transformative Los Angeles. We believe that by meeting people's basic needs and nurturing community, we can shift the culture towards abolition and ultimately bring the desired future. We'll dive a little bit deeper into the Robinson Space in a second, but we need to put some respect on the powerhouse crew of guests representing each organization that came together to found the Robinson Space. We are joined today by Melissa Acedera of Polo's Pantry, we got a doctor in the building, Dr. Robin Petering of Lensco, and Phillip Kim of People City Council. Melissa is the daughter of Filipino immigrants who set their roots in Los Angeles. She is a community organizer working in the intersection of food justice and houselessness issues. She has over 13 years experience working in food research, compliance, logistics in food and beverage, bridging her knowledge of food systems from a corporate lens and her work in community organizing. Melissa has a unique and valuable understanding of food, environmental, and housing justice issues. As a response to food scarcity and injustices she saw while organizing in Skid Row and other areas in Los Angeles, Melissa founded Polo's Pantry in 2018, a grassroots organization dedicated to fighting for just futures in food systems through mutual aid, advocacy, and community building. She also co-founded Homie Made Meals in March 2020, a mutual aid network of cooks, drivers, and suppliers, a community-powered food system helping feed unhoused and food-insecure communities across Los Angeles and Orange County. Doctor. Wow. Damn, right? Damn. Now, we move to the doctor.
Oh, God.
Dr. Robin Petering. Robin is the founder and CEO of Lensco. She has worked in the field of youth homelessness since 2008, starting as a street outreach worker in Oregon, and then receiving her master's and doctorate in social work in Los Angeles at UCLA and USC. Dr. Petering's academic research focuses on the impacts of the experience of homelessness on young people and how to prevent them through innovative policy and program implementation. In 2018, she founded the organization Lensco as a way to bridge the gap between community advocacy and data-driven research. She oversees all projects at the organization and can tell you the best places to sing karaoke.
There we go. Great voice on Robin. She's a real good singer.
She does have a great voice.
And finally, we have Phillip Kim. His social justice journey against racialized patriarchal capitalism is rooted on the front lines of bodily autonomy and community self-determination. Utilizing his skills in digital media, visual arts, and event production, he has been funding abortion since 2008. He co-founded the prescient Row on the Rocks concert series and has been honored to be the co-chair of the New York Abortion Access Fund and secretary on the board of Access Reproductive Justice. Phillip is also a proud member of People City Council.
Shout out.
He hopes to actively heal generational trauma inflicted on his ancestors by the terrorism of imperialism while acting in joyful solidarity with his community towards a liberated world where systems of oppression are abolished. Enough from me. Welcome.
That was very thoughtful, Jason. That was really amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really just pulled the bios offline.
I'm kind of sad that I didn't get my own intro, but it's okay. Next time you can give me one. I'm joking. No, I'm going to be the host with you, so it's okay.
That's what I'm saying.
You'll all get to know me. We also started calling Phillip Engineer Phillip last session because you were just here giving us notes, so that's going to be your official name. Is that okay?
All right.
Yeah? Okay, sweet.
Can you turn up the mids there?
Yeah.
So we want to thank y'all for joining us.
Yes.
And what we wanted to talk about today was the Robinson space.
I love that we're acting like they're not just our
Yeah,
friends.
I know.
Like, hey, welcome. It's like we were just hanging out
This
for
is
like
so fun,
half
though.
an hour. I love
really,
it. Yeah.
really enjoy this.
It's the best, man. It's
Yeah.
the best.
I'm enjoying this because it gives a different feel of our friendship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's not as like it's not as like obvious online. I think because we're always just like retweeting each other, liking whatever, but like just our closest camaraderie, just like outside of online space, is so real. So I hope that people can really hear it in this one. I think they
Melissa,
will.
like, she'll bring the touchy feelings like everywhere.
I
It's
always
so
do.
good.
I am
Yeah.
so emo. I am so proud of it.
We love it.
And I think for us too, kind of, people are like, oh, who's People City Council? Like, who are these people? They're like a shadowy organization. It's like, no, we want to be, this is who we are. You're going to meet basically everybody who's in the org at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, and then so we
love
want to
that.
make sure that people just know that it's like we're just regular ass people too. We got into this work however we did, and
And we're not white.
we're not white exactly.
This
I think that-
categorization,
yes, I mean,
a lot of people think that there are a lot of white people in People City Council, so we just want
Yeah,
to clear it
yeah.
up for the record.
there are only 2 whites as far as I can tell,
This
right?
is correct.
Yeah, but you know
So-
who accuses us of being white?
Who?
White people.
It's the
Oh,
whites.
yeah.
Dang.
I mean, listen, we have a white member who we love and cherish, but some people are like, oh, that's like he's the guy, he's the People City Council. Like, no, man, like we all do. So anyway, we're not gonna have too many white people on the show. I'm just making that a rule right now.
I love it.
I'm joking.
Oh man.
For the record, Robin is white, but she's one of the good ones, as we say.
No, that's actually something that we can talk about in the Robinson space. That's such a intentional thing because, Robin is one of the good ones and actually also is very like just so good at also understanding the power map of all of that. So I think like maybe having more kind of open conversations around that is why building with Robin to me is honestly like the best. And I think people need to know that. And why that is. Well, maybe we can jump
Thank
off
you.
and talk about it.
Yeah,
Wait,
sure.
where do we start though? Talking about the Robinson space.
I don't know.
I mean, so let's kind of just break it down. What is the Robinson Space? How long has it been around? What the fuck are we doing here? We have a podcast studio.
I really love that mission statement, man.
Yeah.
We just came up with that mission statement like a month ago or something. It sounds real good. But yeah, which actually we should have come up with that mission statement
In the
2
beginning.
years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
we started this will be July is kind of our anniversary month.
Wow.
So we're officially entering our second, or this will be our third year.
I think that's how that. Yeah.
We'll start our third year
Mhm.
soon. So we're
2
completing
down.
2 years,
Yeah.
which is wild because it seems like it's gone really fast, but also
10 years.
a lot of stuff. I've aged a lot.
You have.
Dang, yeah.
I don't think people understand the amount of work, like just behind the scenes work that Robin carries, and I think like that's important for people to know that in the beginning, especially at year 1. Yeah, I think that's important because should we jump in and talk about how
Jump
this
in. Well,
came-
how do we get started? Someone else
yeah,
start.
like what? How do we? Do you guys want us
I
to?
think you were starting.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's do it.
So 2021.
20? No, I think like 20. No,
Yes, 2021.
That would make it 2 years, yeah?
wait, no, like 2020. Wait, I feel like I'm trying to remember.
It was 2021.
Well, before we even found
Yeah, no,
the
no,
space,
yeah.
we were talking about what
Yes.
spaces because we were in...
We're talking to Nicole.
Nicole, who is part of PCC but is kind of taking a step back.
Yeah, but it's
she was-
important. It's important for us to make sure that Nicole's voice is included because I remember prior to us like even getting together, you're already talking to Nicole about finding a space, and literally it was just Polo's. Like I was just expressing to her, Polo's needs a space,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember we had like sort of these like brainstorming, ideation, like kind of sessions. It was me. You were there too, yeah. It was me, Jag. It was me, Jag, Nicole, and you.
Yeah, I was
and
the scarecrow.
you were the scarecrow. And I
was
remember
the
this.
lion.
I remember this. We were just kind of like figuring out like what, like we're just trying, because I was telling her we need a space. Like Polo's
Yeah.
needs a home base. We're kind of in this sort of phase now where we need to sort of kind of stabilize in that way. And then I remember like Jag had rented out like sort of the private space, and like Nicole was like, "This is my vision," and so she like put it on this like glass wall, and I remember it still. She just had like this like vision of like a community space and all that stuff, and so it was from there I feel like the jump off of like the actual seed of Robinson Space really happened, because it was really a collective sort of like, because we're absolutely not in a position to be able to get a space on our own, just because so much of the money, I mean, I'm still like, I don't even have a website. So like we're so lean that so much of the money goes into food.
Yeah.
So we like it was important for us to be able to do it with other people.
For me, so my org Lensco, and we needed a space. Actually, March 2020 or whatever, we were about to sign a lease on an office. It was actually going to be Nithya's like campaign office. We wanted to take that over.
On Western
in
and
K-Town or whatever.
K-Town,
Yeah. And the idea,
Infamous.
yeah. It was a cool space, but
Yeah, it was
always the idea of that was like, okay, if we're gonna move into a space, I want it to be shared, like it, because there's no point of, like
Having your own.
our own space. I'm like, I'm not gonna pay for all, a power bill if we're not gonna be there all the time. A lot of our work is either remote or in the field. My org spends a lot of time in the field, so we're not there every day. But we needed a home base, and everyone needs a home base. Is kind of where we were always thinking. So then, flash forward after the pandemic. The pandemic was over. Remember? So this is it was July 2021. We were all officially vaccinated.
yeah.
And we're like, okay, this is time. We're like, it's time to get back together. And that's what we were everyone was missing, that human connection and place to meet people. And I don't know. It was just
Literally hanging out in parking lots.
yeah.
Actually, it was Nicole's parking lot. I think was the most like
So
popular
many
one.
great parties
Yeah.
and great
Even her
hangs and all that.
wedding.
Her wedding, yeah. I mean, I think that
Yes.
there's also this attack on public space that's happening.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think every organization, every group of people is like, hey,
Right.
wouldn't it be cool if we could like meet somewhere that wasn't someone's house, or apartment where they might have a
Right.
roommate or children or whatever. So
Yeah.
there's this kind of thing of like, oh, it's. I'm just saying sometimes kids are, you got to pay attention to them is what I'm saying. But like, there's this attack on public space where it's like it's hard to exist in it, where you can't sit down or lay down or whatever. So I think it's kind of a natural extension of like wanting to find a place where we can congregate. And, whether that's a bar or a coffee shop, I think having a place like this has been so incredibly
Important.
Yeah.
to like people's mental health too. Like having a place, where like cool people are going to be, where you can hang out for a little bit, maybe get some work done. That is very important. I don't feel like it's not a thing that's kind of available to everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I started, that was something I've thought of. Los Angeles too, in particular, most places, but Los Angeles is particularly hostile, and like you can't really be anywhere. And that's working in youth homelessness. That's some of the stuff that I saw, like being in I was a big proponent of just space, like having the ability to just be somewhere and like just exist safely was so important for young people who are getting kicked out of Starbucks for charging their phone, who are getting kicked out of parks and all that stuff. It's like this space open for 3 hours every couple of days, and they would just come in and like take a nap. And I was like, that's so important. And so I think the space just really kind of, once we've opened that, really the need for that, a safe space and a place to just be and connect is truly evident. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when did we get serious about finding a space? I actually want to honor that Jag found the space.
Yeah.
Right? Jag found the space. And I'm trying to remember because I'm always away organizing, and so I remember even the first location. It was like you, Jag, like folks were sending me like videos and stuff, like, look at this space, it's beautiful. Like you also were, like folks were also trying to send me like, hey, this place is amazing, what do you think? Nicole too. When was that? Like, do you remember?
So that was July 2021.
Okay.
So we put it like a list in that manifesting. We're like, okay, here are all the things that we want. We want like it to be close to public transportation. What was great about the old spaces, we had like the load in, right? There was storage capacity, like all these different things. Yeah, outdoor space, and then I don't know. Yeah, Jag found
had a
this
beautiful
listing.
trash room.
Oh God.
Goddamn trash room.
Yeah.
Damn, it's trash.
But and it was the thing I'll never forget too is like we signed the lease, and I got COVID the day we signed the lease, July 2021, and I was like the first person ever to get breakthrough COVID. Like I was like the breakthrough. So we were signing it not knowing that people that were vaccinated were gonna get COVID like again.
Yeah,
And
one
then it
time.
all started happening.
Yeah,
When we signed the lease, Robin did a spit.
yeah.
Landlord.
Yeah.
That's
You know what's
where
crazy
that
too
COVID
is that
came
when we
from.
signed the lease on this place, I had COVID.
Damn.
The only two
Wow.
times I've had COVID.
So you're saying you started Omicron? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was Delta.
Delta, okay.
Delta, maybe. Remember that one?
Yeah. What are we
It
on
was
now?
rough.
What's the strain
I don't
now?
know.
But we were in this. Everyone was just ready to get back together, and like after all of so much shit had happened, and people were just disconnected. Really,
Yeah.
Like there was so much conflict and miscommunications, disinformation, all that stuff happening, and truly just like getting people face to face really was the solution. I think.
That was important. I think we didn't realize how important that was at the beginning of the space. I do remember how excited you, me, and Nicole were going to IKEA for the first time. Literally,
Love
the three of
IKEA.
us. It was like,
This podcast brought to you by.
seriously. It was like kids in a candy store. We literally were like, just like, it was so fun. It was
Yeah.
so, that was like one of my favorite days. It's like the three of us going to IKEA and literally like just imagining the space, trying to the nesting period of the first space was really fun.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we didn't even have an idea of like we need a mission, vision, values, the statement. We literally just like literally dove in like without and literally just kind of held each other like let's just figure this out. Like and that's exactly the feeling of the first space. I
The
feel.
first space, so it ended up being a giant like warehouse, I guess,
It's like an
right? It was a
experiment almost.
It felt like a clubhouse to me a lot. You know, where
Yeah.
like you go and hang out with friends, you're doing important stuff, but also like it was great to just have a party there and hang out. You know, people had baby showers and stuff like that. Like it was
Jason
a lot
had
of
his
fun.
baby
No,
shower
I had my
there.
birthday party there. Like it was the best. 'cause
People
it's
had
like,
weddings there.
Yeah. I mean, it was. It felt to me like what I dreamt of as a kid. Of like, I want a place where all me and my homies can hang out and not worry that like we're gonna get in trouble. Which we kind
Not
of
have
ended
to
up
like
getting in trouble.
spend money.
Got in so
Yeah,
much
we
got in
trouble.
trouble. Yeah.
Got in so much trouble.
Yeah.
In a
But no,
lot of
but there was a
trouble.
day where me and Jag drove a U-Haul all around the San Fernando Valley
Unpicked up stuff.
and picked up couches and chairs, and it was like,
That Robin threw
I'm like,
away.
what a lucky fucking idiot I am that I get to do this cool shit. Like, go and pick this stuff up, hang out with somebody who I'm getting to know, then deliver it to like this space that me and my friends are running. It's such a point of pride of mine to have been at that space. I'm like, hey, like this is something that you know a bunch of people put together. And now we get to hang out. It was, I mean, amazing times.
Yeah, and I think like we all did our part to sort of contribute in a way that we could, right? Like we all contributed in a way that we thought was our whatever capacity we had, and yeah, I feel like phase one of Robinson Space really was experimentation.
Yeah.
really.
Well, what
Such a
was
relief too, because I think at that point my car was storage for Polos.
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
no, it was like my car was never empty.
You were
It was-
never empty. You were doing a lot of, because I think that was still, 2021? So, yeah, you were definitely doing a lot of either moving food to Mock Park or like Skid
that,
Row and
yeah.
all that stuff. We was still very much in the heat of the pandemic. So, we were still moving food in so many different ways. And so, like,
My car broke down.
Your
so
car
it was
broke
great to have
down.
a space to leave like
yes.
stuff.
Yes, and even even the evolution of the actual pantry itself too sort of lent itself. It was an evolution. It's like I wanted the community to be part of the evolution of that space because yes, it's Polo's space, you know, but it was really, to me, my vision for the pantry was really a mutual aid pantry where it's like, like Phillip came to me, he was like, "Let J-Town needs to store like the hoodies and stuff, and we got like there's like 10 boxes." I'm like, "Dope, put it in there." And like Miss Rogers has like freaking 25 bags of like clothes and shoes for families. Dope, let's put it in that. Like it was really just like because space is such an important. I guess I hate to use the word commodity, but it is.
It is.
In social justice spaces that like that having that room. Huh?
Just in America.
Yeah,
America.
just period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
But it
America,
was
guys. America.
Fucking America.
America, you know? I'm just saying. It's America.
America's got a problem.
Yeah, but it was. I felt like that was. I'm like, okay, this is really really cool. Like I like folks felt a relief being able to land things in that space that they're going to use for their pop-ups or Miss Rogers pop-ups in South Central and then like J-Town and Little Tokyo. So it was really like, yeah, we wanted to open all that up. Yeah, BLM on Wednesdays, right? We put a stage, storing equipment there. So these are stories I hope that people will get. I'm glad that we're having this conversation because people
Yes,
get to
so
hear
much
that.
happened.
There's all these little stories of the Robinson space that we don't get a chance to really talk about.
Yeah, and the thing is, the reason why we didn't have a mission statement, right, is it just happened so fast. We kind of opened, got the keys, nested, and then it was full. And then that first from July to whatever, January, or through Omicron, I guess, I don't know, like we weren't open to the public, technically. Like we weren't allowing people to, we never got requests from people outside of like our inside circle. It was all word of mouth.
We also wanted to keep it inside circle.
Yeah, because we were learning. We learned a lot.
I had trust issues.
Learned a lot.
I have trust issues.
Yeah, I do too. I got deep issues after this stuff. Yeah,
But I think that's actually important. That we are like intentional about who gets to use the space because we all talk about how this is an abolitionist space, and how do we define abolition? How do we are we clear about our statement? And I think that's why I'm glad that we've gone through the process of defining abolition for ourselves, so that whoever comes in here is all about it. It's like you can say abolition all you want. I'm looking at Elle right now. You can say abolition you want, but are you really abolitionist, bruh?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean,
Like that. I'm like subtweeting someone right now.
I mean, we can listen. This is our podcast. We can talk shit
yeah,
whenever we
tweeting
want.
someone.
I'm also. But I'm also-
Podcasting, yeah.
But it's real. Like as someone who's so frontline, it's like what the fuck are you about, dude? Like, are you for real about this? Is it your career? Is it your political career that you're thinking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you're pissed at me. Like, I'm out here trying to get food to people who are getting evicted and like getting harassed by LAPD and LASC. But you're out here saying that you're abolitionist, but you know what I mean? Like, and then like your renters' rights or whatever are also very weak. So tell us what you're giving to the people.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to see how quickly the calendar would fill up for the Robinson, because there was such a need for space in this town that like every org wanted to have something there. Could you kind of maybe talk about like what it was like to have every org in town be like, hey, like let us use your space, and then try to figure out what that even meant?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Robin can
great
say
question. Yeah, we had to. I mean, we just got inundated with requests, and that was really hard because I think part of our mission. So that was the thing. We didn't have time to set up a mission, and we're like, it's just a space, and we want everyone to use it. That was all. We're like, I remember writing a grant, and we're like, well, it's a space that people can use, and you're like, okay, they're not going to fund us. So
Then you came up with the acronym.
yeah, well, it was always a backronym.
The acronym, yeah.
The School for Public Awareness and Community Engagement.
I love that.
Yeah. And but yeah, so we would get all these requests, and I think part of it too, we wanted to build out a really, I think we wanted to support all orgs to an extent, and particularly like we wanted to support I think it was a great place for new ideas to start, new orgs that didn't have as many resources and whatnot, like a great place to just start brainstorming things. But then it's like, then it just became so much. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain how to manage it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I saw you in very stressful times. I have to really stress to people that it was a lot. It was a lot for Robin. I think even just the management of just the inquiries. I think at some point it became a very popular.
We used to like pause them because it was just like crazy.
It was too much. It was, and it also kind of showed you the need of the community.
Yeah.
I mean,
So many conflicts.
So many conflicts. Yeah.
we would need like 4 or 5 Robinson spaces in one area to kind of fulfill the need that was coming through that place. Because I had people asking me, hey, I know it's June, but in November I have a thing. And I'm like, we're like, I think we even had to be like, hey, we're going to only do 1 or 2 months in advance or something like that.
Yeah, we made it so we could only schedule out 2 months in advance because we were taking it in the beginning. People were like, I want to do this in December or whatever, or like so far out. And then everything would fucking change. And you're like, well, I have no idea what's going to happen over the next 2 months, you know? So
The space is hard. It's not easy. I don't think people realize that how hard it is. It's like literally
Everyone brought
collective-
the trauma to
yeah,
the table.
everyone,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's all
yes.
volunteered, like technically. Like it was like this is a volunteer like project of passion. Yeah. But like my org, we use a space as an office. So we have that infrastructure and that support that we can use towards the facilities. But everything else beyond and also I've never done nonprofit stuff until this, like in terms of running one. And I don't know how to do it still.
You're doing it.
I mean, it's quite
Tell the
successful.
IRS.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to go back to what Phillip is saying here. A lot of conflicts. I feel like we can we open that conversation a little bit? We don't
Sure.
have to get too detailed, but I think it's important to open up a very honest conversation around conflict and space.
What are you referring to?
Yeah.
Which one?
Which
one?
Where?
Which
I don't know.
org,
Are you talking about like just
individuals?
generally?
I think general. I think let's talk about this because every space that I'm in, I'm actually just kind of some context. I'm coming back from an incredible camping experience with predominantly BIPOC folks from Oakland, mostly Oakland community organizers and leaders, and they were very intentional about making this space mostly for BIPOC folks.
Okay.
And I love hearing them talk about the intentionality around that, right? Around why they did it that way. But we started, there were conversations about conflict. And I feel like every space I'm in, we're dealing with conflict. And I think, as a food person, we have a kind of an interesting lens on conflict because we have to talk to everyone regardless of conflict. We have to keep feeding people regardless. And so it's been an interesting sort of, space to kind of see all the stuff that was happening. So I feel I hope that Robinson space, I think we are kind of building a container where we can look at conflict, work through conflict in a way that is really,
Yeah.
I hope transformative and regenerative too. Really abolitionists, not canceling, because I for sure, Polo does not believe in cancel culture. I'm speaking for myself as an organizer too.
I don't think cancel culture is a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think so much of what we've seen or experienced is just how much is lost and flattened just in digital communication online, and really so much of conflict or whatever. It's just miscommunications and stuff that could be addressed. So having physical space, I think, is partly
Important.
just really important in keeping the community going. The work, they say, the work.
The work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I would love for people to try and say things to us that they tried saying to us online to our faces. It's
Yeah.
People forget that
Financially.
people are real people too. It's just
Yeah,
humans.
exactly.
You're when you are meeting someone or interacting with someone online, you just ascribe all the things that you you don't see that they're a real person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It was
But you're no, they suck.
No,
They're trolls.
I was just thinking, everyone in this room, if we've tweeted it, we'll say it to your face.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, 1,000%.
Oh, yeah, outside of your houses.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It was funny though to have people who would talk shit about people city council or are people who are associated with us, but they're like, hey, I heard you have a space, could we use it? And we're like, what the fuck? I thought you guys weren't down
Yeah,
with us. So
you
it was
hated us,
interesting to,
yeah.
I think having the space sort of, made people kind of come to us in a different way, but also kind of put a target on our back in a way.
Yeah.
I feel like people were always trying to see what we were trying to do, where did the money come from,
Right,
all that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah.
maybe let's talk a little bit about that.
I definitely have learned that, and you guys know this too. The more visible you are, the more
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Target?
okay,
Yeah.
who
more
here
trolls.
has gotten death threats? Jason, I know you
haven't.
have. I know you have.
I got some death threats, especially
Yeah.
after the Kevin De Leon situation.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, famously, you are.
I am the person in the green military jacket.
Yes, yeah.
Decided to run up at a kids event.
Were you not wearing a Santa's hat? No, he was.
He was wearing a Santa's hat. I was
Okay.
wearing a Los Angeles Kings sweater.
Okay.
So
Old school one, though,
Who
right?
Hasn't
Yeah.
been
Kind of a
assaulted
purple
by
and gold.
KDL or his staffers
this is
at
true.
this point.
This is true. And so yeah, that was me. And obviously, there's been a breakdown of that video online. speak much to it right
Sure,
now.
sure,
It's
sure, yeah.
still an open case.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to hear back from the city attorney. It's been like 7 months now.
Wow.
Jesus.
7 months already.
Yeah, it was a Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For the record, shitbag grifter KDL.
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Racist, lying.
tell us how you really feel.
Tell us how you
Phillip.
really
Yeah.
feel,
Yeah.
Phillip.
Hey, listen, maybe Jason can't say it, but we can say it, okay?
Oh, I could
You
still,
can-
I
okay.
still go up to the city council and, say
Oh, yeah.
all the truths about him. And we know that his time is coming in terms of his
Mhm.
time on the city council will be up. Because I don't think he's going to make it past this primary.
Yeah.
He should be announcing here pretty soon. I don't really want to talk about that.
Sure,
since we're
sure.
talking about the Robinson.
But
space.
I just wanted to, just kind of a context of who we all are and what we've been through. Having a space, having a publicity on you in whatever way,
Yes.
it's always going to bring, the nosy people, but also the people who want to do harm to you. And some of them are perhaps even within our movement, let's say that. Right? I mean, we don't have to get into it, but that's something that I've noticed is like having the space has made it so people are like, oh, let me talk some shit about you. Let me pry into your life and see what this really is. And I think that can be a little uncomfortable. And as much as the space is amazing, there are bad things that come when you do something like this. Whether, and again, it's not just the people who you would expect it from, the cops and landlords, but it's from people who you would think you would be on the same side with.
Right.
Yeah.
And they oftentimes come harder than
Yeah,
the
of course.
cops and the media
Yes,
and
yeah.
everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And the right-wingers.
Good
And they're
point.
digging up all sorts of crap
Yep.
to try
About
to
you.
bury you.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing. People have opinions about what you are doing or what you aren't doing, if you're doing it right, and if you're doing blah, blah, blah. And it gets to you, but I think always we've just been rooted in I feel good that I believe in what we're doing, and I don't really care
Same.
if someone is out, as long as we believe in what we're doing and feel good about it. Yeah, then that's okay with me. I don't care what anyone else
And we
says.
see it too, right? We see the events that people have here, the meetings and all the other kind of things.
Yeah.
We see it. Whereas people, again, there's so much invisible work that goes on
Yeah.
in this space and that goes into this space that
Yeah.
oftentimes I feel like that people aren't seeing it.
They're not seeing it because I think that's why the Robinson space is very important, because it's all this, right?
Mhm.
We can put everyone on a text thread, but it's not the same as us literally sitting here.
Mhm.
I'm looking at you, and it's like
Our text threads are really, really great though.
they are. We do have very excellent text threads.
I just want people who are jealous about the space also to
Jealous about
Want to be on a text thread, yeah.
our group chats.
Think about what you're missing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it too. It's it's let's talk about that. Having a space is privilege. Having
sure,
a space
yeah.
is having in context land, right? And so we're all fighting for that. And so
Yeah.
the fact that we have that, right, collectively, we're gonna have a target on our back because that's literally what everyone is fighting for. And so I feel like the targets within, I guess, our own circles or whatever, can feel a lot harder, is because we're all fighting for the same thing. And I am not mad at people who are fucking hating on us because, that's a very human fucking trauma response.
Oh,
yes.
I mean, I keep my hater hat on all fucking day. It's invisible, but I keep it on all fucking day. I love to hate on people and things. It's sometimes pretty fun, but
That's human. That's a fucking
Yes.
human experience. We're all gonna talk shit constantly about each other.
Yeah.
Because we're always you know what I mean? That is just being fucking human.
yeah.
But that's the thing too. Is that's why I think the energy of talking about conflict is important, because the space literally counters that, right? I dare anyone who fucking talks shit about PCC or even any of us to really say it to our face, come to the space, see what we're doing.
Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
we're doing, see how we're holding community. And even literally, y'all just gotta meet Robin's crew. Y'all just hands down, y'all just gotta meet Nina, who works with me now. I mean, you know what I mean? And even the family that it's already built within this space.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't even see the interactions that we have here. We are a family here.
Yeah, and I think the
Yeah.
best thing about a shared community space too is always there's things that happen, right? There's the meetings and there's the workshops, but it's the in-between stuff, right? It's the meetings wrapped up and you're bumping into someone in the hallway or whatever, or, you know, and it's the osmosis that happens. And I think that's a cool thing about our mission statement. It's like we're shifting the culture towards abolition. It's not like prophesize, like we are, but the idea is you can come in here and like it'll soak into you without your knowledge. You don't even know it's happening. It's Travis going on our Young People to the Front podcast and saying "fuck the police," just like on it, and me being so proud.
For real.
You know,
And
I didn't tell him to do it.
I wanna-
he got that from you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And, no, but like they're listening to y'all too, right?
Sure.
Like they're watching you at City Hall, like screaming at KDL. And even one of my favorite Robinson Space Phase 2 moments was literally like having Jason here and Meraki, like both of you. I walked in. It was one of my favorite days. I walk in. I forget what I was doing that day, but I just like it was like Jason had a crib.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was like so dope.
Oh yeah, that when they were making the banners.
Yeah, the banner for South Cop
Great.
City.
Should
And
we do
like,
some drops tomorrow.
you know what I mean? Like that to me is so those are sacred moments. Like your son is just gonna see that he's been with you throughout your whole journey,
Yes.
and you get to like, you know, share that with us. And like, I already like it's weird because like I already have folks trying to do oral histories about polos, and I talk about this space a lot because it's like this is it. Like I love that your word osmosis. Like I feel like it feels like nature. We're all kind of growing it together. You know what I mean? And we don't know what the fuck. Like we don't know. We have no like. Yes, we have a vision, but we're just all putting our own fertilizer.
Yeah,
in it.
it's kind of
You know
grows
what I mean?
itself.
Yeah, it grows itself. And then just even spending time with you, I hadn't had any chance to even talk to Meraki like that. And the fact that like I was able to have quality time with y'all, and we got to talk shit. Like it was so fun.
We
You
definitely.
know what I mean? With your son right there, come on now.
Piping hot tea.
Piping hot tea.
all the time.
Yeah.
If people didn't know that I love chisme,
I like to
y'all
remind
know
people
that
that like
Okay.
gossip and gossiping is like a survival.
yes,
like
Yes.
survival
yeah.
thing, yeah.
it like women back in the old times, we had to gossip with each other
Yeah.
to survive. So
Yeah.
it's important.
It's a warning mechanism.
Yeah. Sharing sacred information. Should we talk about phase 1 to phase 2?
Yeah, go
Yes.
for it. Go
Well,
for it.
Referencing
I
it?
think A lot of other stuff happened during phase 1.
Well, I know. I'm saying, should we talk about the transition or no? We don't want. Are there other
I
stuff?
just- like we made history in that space.
Yeah.
and history was made in that space.
Yeah. You're right.
Abolitionists running
Yeah,
for
that's true.
city council.
Kenneth, like
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna use his name. But
oh,
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, I mean
the controller's office.
the controller's office, like groundbreaking campaigns.
Yep. Launch there.
Like first time youth activists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meeting each other,
Yep.
Right.
hanging out with each other, forming relationships and stuff. Like
There was the Echo Park Lake 1 year event. Which was like kind of a trauma healing, like really beautiful thing.
Is that like the same thing as was that like the summit? Then we had like a services not
we had a
Sweep
services
summit,
not sweep summit.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had a Stop LAPD spying event there too.
Yeah.
And what was cool about our events was we would start to blend ourselves in it. Like I remember Hamid reached out to me about hiring a street vendor for the Stop LAPD spying thing. That was so dope. But then, you know, like Nane Sorry was born out of that.
Yeah. One of the coolest things that you guys did.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna say it, but y'all go ahead and tell.
say it.
No, like I would love to hear from you guys what Nane's felt like for you.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like it was, you know, growing up, I used to love to go to the swap meet into big markets. And, you know, growing up in LA, there's tons of them. And we'd go to, whether they were in our neighborhood or we'd have to drive out and be like, oh, like, I'm going to find something cool. I'm going to have some good food. I'm going to talk to some interesting people. And to me, it felt sort of like the best version of that I, you know, now I'm an adult. And so I'm like, oh, maybe I want to get like some interesting food and whatever. It was like a place to meet people. And like, you're meeting people that are doing amazing work. And they just happen to be there looking at a book or, you know, if you wanted to meet your heroes in the movement, they were there eating food, reading books, hanging out with people. It felt like, you know, the best sort of thing of community that I've been a part of in a long time. That was it's so really, really special to me.
Yeah, and it was really rooted not in capitalism and creating a market. It was rooted in giving space to people to share what they were making, creating, whether it be food or arts or crafts. It wasn't like, hey, I need a couple bucks and this is how I make my living. It was like, this is some like Mama Cat's like voodoo dolls, for example.
So cool.
Like there was more artistic expression, and it didn't feel like a gentrifying market, which there's so many of already in LA. where people
No one
come
was selling kombucha.
I think people were, but
Oh, were they? Okay. No.
I was about to say.
Yeah, okay, well, it was a person of color selling kombucha. Okay?
right, yeah. I mean, even the kombucha was like chill. It was,
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't gentrifying kombucha.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't have some crazy like type font and
exactly.
Right, and
logo.
we had Filipino workers, farmers, selling their the produce and like handmade food, and it was much more about like there was like a family vibe rather than like let's sell stuff vibe. And that was like always something that I was terrified of becoming and being part of. And like we always like pulled it back because it was like everyone was taking care of each other. It was Melissa buying out the churros and then sharing it with everybody, which is different than, you know, just having like art school person make churros and sell it for $20.
Those art school kids cannot bake churros at all. I'm just saying.
churros.
You know,
I think too, it was the coolest thing is like people would go on like a date there. It was like just like more about like a place to
hang out.
And I talk about just like I think the joy and the fun part of things, of the work or whatever you call it, is the work. Often, I find it to be a very important part of the work. So
Go ahead.
and people came and they knew if something went down, no one's calling the cops.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like we're all just gonna handle it together.
oh my God, remember?
Yes, I will actually share that. So, actually, I want to also hear from Jason too, because another thing that people need to know. What was that? It was that time that you and KDL remember, like
Yeah, it was the December. Yeah,
December one.
that's.
And I remember hitting Jason up. I go, it would mean so much to me if you come to Nanai's next. Like I didn't know because I thought you guys were going out of town or something. His family came to Nanai's the next
absolutely.
for our like holiday one. And honestly though, like I had a moment. I literally had to go upstairs and cry because I'm so emo. But like I was just, it meant so much to me that you guys were there.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't miss it.
But like that's the thing though. It's like the world was watching y'all, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
You could have easily hit Jason. Like you could literally have taken your beautiful family. You were like, peace out, fuck you, LA. I need to like hide for a minute.
Sure.
But the fact that you came and hung out with us to me is everything.
And I appreciate that, but it's because that's my safe place.
Yeah.
My homies are there. My community's there. You know what I mean? Like I know that the people that are in that space have my back, and so that's why I felt comfortable, you know, venturing out into the market. And of course, you know, I'm not going to miss some good vegan food. You know, some great music, and I really do appreciate you making that space. And each date had like it was a different vibe.
Yeah.
Right? We talked about it, and it was really cool seeing how it transformed. Depending on the date, for each one. And yeah, it's just very grateful to be to not only be a part of the Robinson space, and then have that event going on there. It was
I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
I'm at whenever it comes back.
I know we need to bring it back.
We are, yeah.
You know, we're there.
I want to uplift Nina and Pratnia who created Table LA, and I actually Polo's works with Table LA to put those together, and the reason why it feels so like it feels the way it does, or felt the way it does, and even like the position of the vendors and all that stuff. I want to uplift Pratnia and Nina in that because of their expertise as like literally former farmers market managers for the Hollywood Farmers Market, which is literally the biggest one in LA. That is Pratnia. And then Nina also the Atwater Farmers Market. So their level of expertise in being able to the spacing of it all and like really like the talking to the vendors and all that stuff. I literally was just I mean, I'm just the person who really was just like, I envisioned it out with them, but they really did a lot of the nuts and bolts stuff. And I want to make sure that people know that. Hire them. Table LA.
There we go.
gotta plug my people.
And there were I feel like a good amount of kids at those markets too.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like,
Family.
I think that, not to compare us to the organizers of old, like the Black Panthers and all that, but you always see pictures of kids running around and if we're part of the work, as we're going to call it now, we're part of the movement, kids are going to be there and they're going to be an essential part because they're going to be the ones to carry it on. So when I see kids running around, they're learning about abolitionist, practice, in practice, because they don't know that this market symbolizes something beyond just being a market. As they get older, it's like, oh, wow, that's so cool. The community was coming together, so they're already kind of being bathed in it. So to me, that's a very important thing. And having markets like that to have kids run around at is to me super, super important for the future.
Yeah, that was so much of our vibe was always wholesome, family friendly. We're fuck the police, but then also flower logo.
Euthanize the Paw Patrol,
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the market,
Oh God.
the market kind of helped sort of really push our vision of abolition, right?
Yeah.
The reason why, the seed for that was because I was organizing with Filipino farmers from Central California. So La Cona Farms is located in Orosi, California. It's mostly kind of elder Filipinas working the land. And so I was connected with them through the Filipino Worker Center. And through my organizing with them, I realized they couldn't, because of the water shortage in Central California, they couldn't irrigate and they couldn't work the land. They probably only was able to use 6% of the lot they had to grow Filipino crops. And so they were like, we need income. Two of the elders are already in their 70s. We're still working the fields. So I was just heartbroken. I said, hey, we have this space in Los Angeles. Let's figure out a market and literally build the market around you. And so then I went to Nina and Pratnia, and that was really the kind of seed for Nanay. Sorry. Nanay is the word for mother in Tagalog. Nanay is also the love kind of nickname of my maternal grandmother. My maternal grandmother, our Nanay, she had a sari store in the Philippines in the 80s, and sari is basically kind of bodega, corner store, Filipino style. And so it was really I was so proud to be able to tie that family history to this centering Filipino farmers, right? Filipino, because we're on historic Filipino town, so that even those ties to me were very, very intentional. And so I was so grateful that Nina and Prane helped me birth that. But even as it evolved, Lensco became a strong we all collectively became such a deep part of it. So now Nanay's is everyone's. Nanay's is all of our stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel as we move forward.
Yeah.
So do we want to talk about phase 2?
Yes.
And I mean,
okay, I know. I know. There's going to have to be a 5-parter.
I was talking about every major part of the first phase, but
this is true. Well, I wanted to know. So maybe as we're talking about phase 1 or finishing up talking about phase 1, what were some of the complications that arose?
Oh, besides the trash.
Well, the trash room was the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah,
there were literal dead animals in there sometimes. But anyway, that was
Yeah. Human feces, baby feces.
Yeah, why did we
So move? I don't even know where do we start?
Termites.
Yeah.
Termites.
It was kind of the day we decided to move, we're we've been fighting
everything.
It felt like a constant fight to stay once we reflected back, but we love the space so much and so much was happening there. Where did it start? I don't really
think it started before we moved in with the ghost.
Yes.
Oh.
What?
R.I.P.
Ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah, so Phillip can talk about that.
Yeah. The previous owner of the space was a gentrifying event space owner in his 30s. Allegedly, lots of snow.
Yeah.
Partying took place. There were multiple people living there in a space that is not suitable for people to live. And that person during the pandemic had a heart attack at the liquor store around the corner. And I believe that
They've been haunting us since.
That
No.
Came like, not that I believe in ghosts per se, but the thing that runs you down and causes you to have a heart attack in your 30s, and like you run a space that is so toxic that there's like restraining orders on this person, like all that stuff. Like I think he kind of cursed that corner, that space, and like
I have not heard of this at all.
Yeah, I didn't hear about this.
Wow.
You didn't just feel that vibe?
We talked about the ladder though, right?
With the ladder?
Okay, well that's off. We'll talk offline about that. Or off the Zoom.
And we also had a rotating cast of neighbors we shared a wall with.
Yep.
The ghost ship. So
The ghost
another
ship.
instance of the word ghost coming up, but in a different manner. And then we had the illegal poker den.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
For a minute,
so insane.
which got raided, and
They left in the middle of the night.
they fled in the night.
And then
and they
between-
were smoking nonstop, and that was
It
all
was
cigarette
so
smoke.
disgusting.
Yeah, coming into the space.
we had-
it was like,
They had somehow gotten rats to infest their side, and they would come over into our side
did-
because of that.
Oh yes.
In the
In the
back
pantry.
area, yeah.
God.
And then someone would leave like their trash just on the ground
With like
behind
chicken
us.
bones everywhere.
Yeah.
There was the day I cleaned up just a giant lawn bag full of raw chickens, and when I went to move it, the whole ground was maggots, and the whole ground was moving.
wow.
There were a bunch of Slipknot fans there.
There we go.
It was so metal.
So yeah, definitely, yeah, definitely. I did not know about the ghosts.
These are the invisible
Okay, but
struggles
but
that
there was
literally
We moved into this. We got the space, even like on the listing, it was an event space. If you look up to like that guy's business, is still on Yelp, whatever, and it's like listed as like a wedding venue. And people are like, oh yeah, I've been to a party there. I've been to this and that there. So we moved in.
I did drugs there. I
Yeah.
had sex there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we moved into this former event space. So we were gonna, and the way the place is set up, is an event space. Like you can't really function as in anything else. It's like 10,000 square feet, but just one giant room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
great because we could open the garage door.
Yeah.
It was like air, and people were still.
And it was
big
a
white wall.
historic Filipino town, so it was kind of, we loved the neighborhood,
Oh, he's a.
but
But the person before us.
it was in a
cursed.
residential. It was like residential, or we had a direct neighbor was
Multiple. Yeah.
Yeah. yeah. So, but
it was hard. Let's talk about that. It wasn't easy because I remember like just even the struggle of trying to figure out, like people calling cops all the time for the
you
event.
know what happened?
Yeah.
How it started?
Okay,
Now I
you
can
get
remember.
into it.
So we moved in at being
Robin had blocked it and buried it deep.
yeah.
Now-
How it started.
Robin has trauma around
So we're
this.
So
we're
much
having an
trauma.
event space. We're doing I don't know. We did like parties or just with not even a lot of people, and then we decided we're gonna open. We're gonna have our first fundraiser. Right? Remember, we're gonna have our fundraiser, which was the Almost Christmas All-Star Bash.
Oh yeah, what a fun time.
Yeah, it was a super fun time, but what happened was the landlord, the day of the party or the day before, the landlord called me, and he said, "Hey, Robin, the cops just called me and they wanted to know about your party that you're throwing tomorrow." And our landlord was like relatively like, he was just like, he was like, make sure that you are checking IDs and whatever. He said, I don't think they liked your ACAB posts online. And I was like, okay. But that was the first time we ever heard anything about anyone being mad about what we were doing is
Yeah,
the cops called our dad. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who called me.
And here's the thing: like we do all this work, and we get surveilled by people, and
Yeah.
we get surveilled by the police, and I think they were
all the time.
just waiting for the moment that they could come and do something to
Yeah.
us.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember. So our courtyard has a garage, like the garage that opens to the alley. And I remember like hanging out. It was like we all be hanging out like in the courtyard, like eating, just like like whatever. And like a cop car will just kind of like slowly drive by and kind of look into our space. And so it was just we knew this though. Like we knew that we
Yeah.
were getting surveilled.
Yeah.
The cop cars parked across the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
They'd walk up all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
But, we were like a DIY venue or whatever. But we were doing everything. And I think one of the things is we didn't want to break any laws. Like we weren't trying to.
I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
Not me. Fuck them laws.
but like, you know, we weren't operating. That's what makes me so mad, because there are people in this town that are operating DIY venues very illegally, that sell alcohol. They charge for entry. They're operating out of a residential place, and they get fucking LA Times write-ups. Yeah. And we're like, oh, we're having this little market, and like, I don't know, you know,
shut us down.
Yeah, I heard
cutest
that
little
it's
things.
a very, you know, I was gonna like make an allusion to the name, but never mind.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I think in phase 2, what I'm excited about, what we're doing together is, yes, you could have a, you know, fluffy LA Times piece on you, but really, I feel like we're long gamers. Yeah.
Big time.
We're big time long gamers, and so for me, you can have your cute little comedy show over there.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love how this episode is literally us, like, just.
We're not, you know, there's lots of different venues that do stuff like that, but
Yeah. Not all of them are secrets.
yeah. But anyways, we are, you know, we're a registered nonprofit. We're like taking donations or blah blah blah, all these things.
Can I just say, we never charged people for anything.
Never.
If people wanted to do a book club or set up for a canvas, whatever, there was no money being exchanged.
No money being made inside the building. Yeah.
And it wasn't even something that we wanted to. I don't think anyone really wrote about us, really, right? Like, it wasn't something that we were doing.
We did not get
We
any
did
write-ups.
one. We got one
write-ups.
when the heat wave was happening last year, right? Where you and I did some water drops and stuff like that. We got like a line or two in an article about.
We were a
the
little
heat
too
wave.
dicey in the beginning. Yeah.
But, like,
we were a little.
Let's be real about this. Our crew, our collective, we disrupt. We're the disruptors, and so, yes, we're probably not gonna get the fluffiest, like, you know, like stuff on LA Times, but I think for me, and I think my gauge, I think for a lot of my work is also the community showing up, the community feeling held, the community feeling like they're safe, right?
You know, we don't get the write-ups.
But we get the community, though.
But like,
you know what I mean?
And not LA Times specifically, but people, we're now like, people, those groups are coming to us, needing the space and asking for our, like, we're supporting them.
But
like,
that's the important piece that I think we have to focus on, right? Like, fuck that. Like fuck the write-ups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the write-ups are not the ones holding the people.
We don't need the
I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
don't. But
Like,
it would be
you know what I mean?
nice.
Yeah, like, it'd be cute. Yes, we need funding. Yes,
Robin deserves the write-up.
yes, she does.
Yeah,
she
but
does.
but that place is like a cool place to be seen, or
no,
the
but
places
like-
like
yeah.
that. Oh, it's like
Let's
hip
be real,
and
like a lot of
whatever.
A lot of the reason Robin won't get the write-ups is because she makes room for people like
that is
me.
true. That is true.
Will curse at people in power quite publicly.
And we'll,
Okay, but you also like
release a
makes room
sticker.
for someone who is, you know, who is the enemy of KDL or me, who's like a very loud shithead who, you know, talks shit about the LAPD. Like, that's just who we are.
But it's rooted in integrity for
the
a better
people.
world for the people
Yeah.
against capitalism
Yeah.
and against oppressive
Right. Because here's the
violent
thing.
forces.
Everyone in this room will say the thing that no one is too scared to say.
Exactly.
And we're going to continue being those people. Right?
yeah. I mean, and I think so going back to, I've never run a nonprofit because I kind of fucking hate nonprofits, right?
Sure.
Like, and I found myself, though, in this work being like, oh my God, like, what's going to happen? Like, when, like, we say this and we're going to lose this donor or whatever. And you get trapped in it so easily. But
But I think
but fuck it. Right? Like, for every one that we lose, we get 4 to 5 more. So it's fine.
Exactly.
I was a little nervous about the Mike Davis car bomb.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
really threw me through a loop. Car bomb bumper sticker. That one's probably, for me personally, the edgiest we've been, but still pretty cool. We did it. Still, we did it. Fuck it.
But
Yeah.
That's important, though. That's why the space is important, because people are like, we want to change this shitty fucking violent world.
Yeah.
And no one out there is giving enough of like a fucking push to be like, fuck this. Like, we want something else. And all of us in this room say that shit.
And I think
youth homelessness, fucking food justice. You know what I mean? Like, everybody here is like, I'm literally seeing like the fucking food system sucks.
It's
like
crazy too. Like, well, remember the last space was dope. We had the propaganda wall or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I love that
which
wall.
we had for so long. I was so like, when people would fuck with it, I would be so upset.
Dude, when people would take it down to do their little whatever, I'm like,
my
dude,
God.
come on. Like, you can live with the posters for 2 hours or whatever.
In between the bathrooms.
Yeah, in
it's
between the
like,
bathrooms. Yeah. So we had all the posters, these like, propaganda posters from Tomorrow Today, that all these different things that had been collected for the year prior before, and we had them up on a wall, and it was like people loved taking photos in front of him and all that stuff.
Can I say that I saw a girl on a dating app recently with posing in front of that, and I was like, oh, shit, that's
so
crazy.
cool. I love that.
Board.
Huh?
Did you write I'm on the board?
No, I wanted to. I helped run that space or whatever, but the sort of effect of that place is like, it was a cool ass wall, and people were like, hey, where else are you going to find this? You're not going to find that in any other place.
And I loved that, like, and then at a point we had like kind of the bigger nonprofits and institutions coming in and using the space, needing to use the space. And they like had to use a space that said, I don't even know. I can't remember anything that said on that wall, but
honestly, like I think
it's in Call Mitch O'Farrell, he's failing you. Yeah, stuff like that.
But like I feel like
Fuck Garcetti.
Even those sort of bigger nonprofits and bigger orgs, they understand the work that we're doing.
They do, and the people at the top might have got them a little nervous.
Yeah,
but then like you could tell like other
cares?
people were like, yeah, this is
exactly.
sick.
Like who fucking cares, dude? We're trying to change things, and it's like, I think we have to start to really feel like, I think finding that balance, right, between like fuck the system, but also like still being completely aware of what we need to continue working in the system. And I feel like we're kind of finding hopefully a healthy balance of that in the space, in our space. You know what I mean?
I think we're getting more like in the phase 2. Like we've had a little bit more time and space to like got deep in like the theory of third space and that kind of like the theory of change of what the stuff that we're like, okay, we think this is what's happening, but now we've kind of been able to put a little bit more like words and intention and like theory and data and academia behind it.
Well,
Dr. Robin.
Yeah, exactly.
Dr. Robin?
By the way, you make us call you doctor.
I don't.
I'm kidding.
I don't, but I'm going to start.
You never have.
I never have.
Really
I'm bringing it
appreciate
back.
that. Yeah, you should.
I left academia, and I thought it was weird that, I was like, I left that space, so I left behind
It's a very
doctorate.
toxic
I always refer
space.
to you as Dr. Peter.
Yeah, but now,
Publicly,
yeah, why not?
But I think, why did you leave? Because you knew it was a toxic space, right?
Yeah, and I just saw people in academia that were doing work that was so out of touch with actually what was happening. Yeah, and they still are. Now they hire me to like be the bridge between like,
wow, look at that.
Look
at that.
Now I got a booming business.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think like that's the beauty of phase 2. Maybe we should start talking about phase 2. Are you guys?
But anyways, we got fucking run down though by the neighborhood council. So going back to like, we weren't breaking any laws, but we had a lot of people that didn't want us there for reasons for noise reasons.
Yeah, we were.
But they didn't like the noise of like happiness and just
there was a lot of like fundraisers and stuff like that.
And
people were
we
just
tried
kinda
working with people.
laughter.
We really like. We never did anything after like 11. Only on the weekends. Blah blah blah. Like it wasn't crazy.
But
yeah.
I think like,
You're like it wasn't though.
Yeah.
What? No,
It would get
I'm
crazy.
just thinking more about like the long year and a half kind of punches that we took
Oh
Yeah.
over, and at the end of it, we all had to decide where is the muscle start and where is the bones of this group, and thinking about it as a healing, like evolving it from like a necessary like space where we have to get together now because we've all been in lockdown.
Mhm.
We have so much work to do. We have so many things we need to bring together, and just mutual aid supplies, and just all these amazing people need to sit in the same space and hash things out. And in the process of trying to make that happen, I think a lot of us learn what's the most important thing we need to be doing for ourselves to be in community and push this like personal mission of youth homelessness, food justice, abolition, decarceration. All that stuff is like, was always still there, and it stayed from the beginning, and it's still here.
Yeah.
And the space around those beliefs needed to adapt so that we could keep doing it without burning fuel that we didn't have on conflicts that didn't matter to us. On
that weren't even involving us. Okay.
On other people's trauma that we couldn't heal. And like we wanted those people to come to the table, be part of it. We wanted those people just to come and hang out and be in community and enjoy with us. And if they couldn't, we couldn't give them the space to abuse us just because we had space. We needed them to be with us in the struggle, in the fight. Like too many things were going on, especially in the last year, especially with the corrupt politicians and the racist tapes, and everything was coming out. And why was it about you and how you're feeling when we're seeing people on the street, like in the rain, sleeping and like hungry? Like, how is this like your feelings right now? Like, it's not that we didn't want to advocate for your healing. It's just that a lot of people brought their bullshit without centering why we were coming together as community and and the power that we generate when we mobilize and have those tough conversations and gossip about the people who aren't about it.
Well,
right? And so here we are in phase 2 where that stuff, we can bring that to the new space and shed some of the bullshit from the old space so that we can focus on what the core was. And I think we couldn't get to the core of it and have clarity on the core of what we really wanted.
They'll go into the shit.
Yeah. The same way we didn't have a mission statement. Like, our mission statement's so clear now because we're like, oh, that was all a distraction from what we really love and want and what we bring for each other and like how we show up for each other. Like when I'm having the worst time, I can just come hang out.
Yeah, you just come here.
And I'm like, I can imagine a time when it's not going to feel this way. And that's what I feel like phase 2 is really about.
I love that, Phillip.
Yeah,
but I want to also That's from.
I had to hit it, man. Hold on, one more time.
Yeah, that's the daddy.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man.
No,
that was good.
I want to bookmark that intention because that's a whole ass podcast right there. That's an episode. That's really, really one episode that we need to break open. The piece of. It's not. It's just human bullshit. It's all of us have stuff. We all carry stuff into spaces. But I think what I love about this space is, and one of the things too that I love that that both Robin and Pratnya also have sort of help us sort of manage. Pratnya now is sort of who's half of table. She's now managing. Maybe
she's managing. We had to. I think the big thing that we learned is the capacity for being able to manage a space is a lot. It's a full-time job. We don't have the funding for a full-time job.
Yeah.
We found the funding for 10 hours a week job.
Just doing that, but even that alone too.
And we're better. And definitely like
she's incredible.
It wouldn't be able to happen.
Yeah, it wouldn't be able to happen, but I think right, we're all learning from what has happened from phase 1 and what's happening now in phase 2, but it's also like bringing more people into the work. That's really important. And I think even the energy of this new space also is because they're also like young people here who bring in a lot of love into it too. That also is key. I think there's so much love that's brought in here. Fatine, Tony, Travis, Whimsy. I want to uplift all of them because it's so important for them to hear themselves. Latoya, everyone needs to hear, because it's like we're not just this we're just not like PCC, let's go Polos. We want to humanize ourselves to all of you out there. You know what I mean? We know all the all the stuff and all the things that are being talked about us, but at the same time, it's like we care and we also don't care because we're here trying to build this for everyone.
So the new space we're building out, we've been taking a lot of time to nest and kind of figure out and put on like our, I don't know, figure it out before we've really been. But even though people have been in here and doing events, it's not like as open as maybe we ever like it could be.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I think we're a community space, but like just thinking about now we have it. So the fridge here is always stocked with meals.
Yeah.
Like Melissa got that. So there's a fridge stocked with meals.
Yeah.
We have a spot where people sleep.
Yeah.
Like we've have a futon that many people, when they've had really tough days, they come in here and they take naps. Like a safe place to sleep.
Where is that, by the way?
Yeah. It's in the Rainbow Room. Yeah. You can have it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
And so like we're building out also just it being a resource center for ourselves and other people like that, even though like it's not necessarily the mission, it's just evolved that way.
well, it's just also again like going back to safe space. We create safe spaces for each other, and we're not like a normal like office space. We definitely don't want to be that way. You know what I mean? We don't want to have the normal trappings of systems that we are moving away from. And I'm noticing that too in the way that I work with Nina. She has the option of working from home and the option of coming here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Come
like,
here often.
yeah, they come here often because literally they love being around each other.
Yeah.
And for us, I'm looking at Jason, like there are very toxic workspaces out there, even though they promote like, hey, we're feeding everybody. But at the same time, it's like,
No shade.
you know what I mean? This podcast.
That's
You know
good.
what? Listen, if y'all feel away, go ahead.
No. I just like that.
And because like no, the truth needs to be out. And if we're not talking about the truth and the way that your behaviors affect people, what are we doing? Right?
Yeah, there's a lot of bad faith actors out there.
There's a
Yeah,
lot.
movements, you know.
But it's also like, it's also like I realize, and I love that Phillip brought up the fact that like there's like bullshit from the old space. Now with some distance from the conflicts that we had there, all of that was so ego based.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of it was so ego based. And I hope that whoever's listening, if you were part of the conflict,
I still have love for a lot of those people.
But
I
also,
do
here's the
too.
thing,
I
here's the
do
thing.
too. Like we're human, dude. Like we're going through stuff. We're not like, and the thing is too, we're not fucking canceling them. Like we're all going through stuff, but it's also like, let's name the thing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, people need to be fed. People in power need to be held accountable, right? The police need to be abolished. Like all that shit that gets in the way. It's like you're getting in the way of like the important work. And like, I get it. We're all people. We're all flawed. We all want attention, or we all want to have our trauma listened to. But like, it's getting in the way, and that's what I kind of feel like this new space is kind of free of that. Like, we're here to do the work. I think we need to make a drop of that, by the way. But we need, we're here to do that and nothing else. And that stuff will come in as it always does. But I think we have to remember that, like, if we don't do this work, then someone else is not going to do it, right?
Yeah.
People are not going to be fed. If you're busy having to deal with some bullshit, the people that you help, get fed are not going to get fed. And that is a true, when I see all these other organizations like falling apart, it's like, oh, well, because of this and because of that. I'm like, yeah, but what you do is outreach and mutual aid to unhoused people. Yeah. So now you're fucking them over because of your own petty bullshit. And to me, that's where I really get angry. It's like, no, your egos and your bullshit are getting in the way of people being able to live and have a tent or some food or whatever it is. And that to me is where I really kind of draw the line,
Yeah.
Well, I think but I think like, and to your point, Al, I feel like phase 2 also is a space where we want to be able to bring in workshops, other things that sort of point to healing, right? Healing that part of ourselves that not all of us have the tools to be able to like deal with conflict, to be able to deal with having hard conversations. I realized being able to open up the space and even to point to the thing, being like, hey, this is the thing that's like not good. We don't have to solve it at that point, but maybe just acknowledgement of the fact that this is hard right here.
Yeah.
Right? This right here, we're having a tough time. And then maybe at some point bring in, but that's what I love, I think, about what we're building is that's something that Rob and I talk about. It's like, I'm talking to a bunch of healers, different modalities, indigenous to whatever. And we're going to bring them all in here because phase 1 is about taking care of organizers too. Like, I want to also make sure that we offer those things to our people, to organizers, everyone in this room, because I know that we're all coming from different lens of healing and trauma work. But I feel like if we are able to bring that into a space where more of us can have like tools to be able to be like, yo, what you did in City Hall the other day would like didn't sit well with me. Can we have a moment? Instead of like talking shit about that person online. You know what I mean? Let's take the conflict away from online space and then having it be in spaces where we can really talk about it, like get through it. And maybe hopefully that can be Robinson's space, right?
Yeah.
Like where you can really we can ground some stuff here. My commitment, really, honestly, I'm committed to bringing conflict resolution and stuff like that. That's important. No, it's because let's be real. That's where the movement is.
Yeah.
Let's be real about that.
I mean,
the movement is like how we're building phase 2 has a lot to do with that too.
Yeah.
At least that's how I'm seeing it.
I think some of the things that I've always kind of, and I think about it when running this space, and it's like, I can't be responsible for other people healing their trauma. I'm not going to heal anyone's trauma, right? And I kind of like get even the word safe space. I'm like, I also can't guarantee your safety.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that because the world's traumatic, it's dangerous, it's scary. But like, we're building out a space where you can gain the tools, the support network, the people that those traumas aren't as, like don't affect you as much as they can. Yeah. Or, when it's dangerous and scary, you have the tools and the resiliency
to be able to
do it. Yeah. But I'm like, yeah, you might come in here and you might get challenged. You might have some
and you will
thing happen.
Yeah, you will be, because we're all coming from different places.
Yeah. You might come in here and like meet someone that you don't like, and it's not my fault.
It's absolutely going to happen. That's the thing, though. Have those expectations, because
it's just the world.
It's just the world. Like, and I think like we shouldn't be counseling people if we cannot have. I don't.
It's often,
I don't like purist thinking. I don't like purist spaces, because you are not realistic about people and the complexity of every person.
Well, and that's been, this is like this is another episode.
A whole
of the
podcast.
But like, particularly like, and this is something talking about even before entering Robinson's space, what's put on like femme organizers, and particularly people that like, me and Jane talk about this a lot, like that are perceived as leaders, and then people put all these expectations that you have to like solve this.
Yeah.
I have this problem, and you have to solve
exactly.
it.
Like,
and I was like, wait, what?
It's on us.
I didn't sign up for this fucking game that you're playing. Yeah, I don't know.
That could be another episode.
I hate that. Yeah, that is a whole nother episode. I got a lot to say.
Mama.
Huh?
Not the mama. Remember the dinosaur?
I do remember that.
Yeah, the little the little baby.
Back in the day.
There's also there's no governing body to this stuff, right? Like, there's no one you can go to, or a body of people that are like, hey, I'm having an issue with this person. Right. There's no like HR for like this work. So like, when you have an issue with someone, it's like you can try to reach out to them, or maybe have someone kind of mediate, but there's no, we're just all stretched so thin, and there's not resources to do that. So like, when you have an issue, like, sometimes you're just going to talk shit about them online or talk shit to your friends, and then it never really gets resolved. And I think that's something, not that there should be necessarily like a governing body to go to, but like, if you work somewhere, there's a number you call when like, hey, I'm having an issue, right? Like, there should be something to where it's like, hey, we need to like get in a room and like get off of our phones and all that, and like talk this over and see if we're, and if the sort of resolution is, hey, I don't want to be around you anymore, then that's fine too. Yeah. But like, we need to have those spaces where we can have those conversations and be frank and open and not scared. Because I feel like, I have so many people out there who like, if I run into them, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I'm like, am I going to yell at them, and I going to be mean at them? Or are they going to be weird with me? And it's like, that's just how life goes when you've been in this for even over a year, where you're like, you're going to get people who don't like the way you do things or whatever. And there's just nobody to run to when it's like, hey, I need advice. And I think there's some people who maybe see themselves as that, who maybe aren't as good as they think they are, but whatever. That's not even shade to anybody specific. I'm just saying,
generally,
that's just how it goes sometimes,
But so many people are afraid to have those conversations, afraid of that confrontation, even though we are confronting these systems.
Absolutely.
Dude, like, you're yelling at a cop and you can't come and talk to me about something,
Yes. Like, it's very odd. It is very odd.
Like, that guy can kill you. I won't try to do that. But no, you're right. There's this weird disconnect where it's like, because we're real people and they see us as, whatever. It's just a weird, anyway, sorry. Continue.
No. Yeah, and it's just I would hope even if there was an HR.
Yeah.
No, I hate fucking HR.
Sure. Yeah.
But yes, but the concept of if there was an HR within the movement, and I do feel like there are people that exist in that role. That I've been a part of some different circles where we discussed harm and discussed all different types of things, and so people definitely fill those roles. Typically, are elders, but I feel like there's not enough people that go to those elders to ask for that support because they don't want to burden those elders because they're already going through. They're having to lead, they're having to be faces of the movement.
Also, our elders are not always taken care of. Like our elders are having to like try to survive, and that's like the fucking capitalist hellscape that we live in. Is like not every elder person is going to have the time or capacity to do so.
Right, exactly. But
it's fucked up.
Things are fucked up, man. Damn.
But I like that, and again, Robin, you're right. I love sort of like that sort of the caution sort of like warning too. It's like, yes, you can come into the Robinson space, but you also will be challenged. Because not everyone, you're not going to get along with everybody. You're not going to, there's definitely going to be things that we're going to do that you're not going to like. But it's like, yeah, you're right. That is the way of the world. We cannot promise you these things, but hopefully, there will be things that we bring, hopefully events and other things or whatever, that will provide you a space to think about or also to learn how to like navigate those. To grow.
Yeah.
That's being challenged. I don't mind principled criticism. I think we all need principled criticism. I want to be challenged when I'm not acting according to my ideals and my principles. You have someone like Hugo Soto Martinez who says he's an abolitionist and then votes for police funding. He deserves to be criticized by everyone who supported him.
Right.
And so I think, there's oftentimes there's principled criticism and there's other criticism, right? And so I would hope that that those, when we come to someone with principled criticism, that they're open to listening to it. And if they're not open to listening to it,
what's that say about that?
What does that say about them? Yeah.
Why are you looking at me, Phillip?
You're over there.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jason.
No, I like that
You
though.
don't need to say sorry to me.
No, I like that.
So what else? Okay, so
what else? Where are we?
What's the exciting stuff about phase 2? What's coming up? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Where are we now? We went from Filipino Town to Virgil Village.
Yeah, we're in Virgil Village, which I love. My home neighborhood.
We're not far from Squirrel. If you guys want to go and
have moldy jam
or something,
moldy
jam and get sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in a new location, and it's almost like the same amount of space, but we have rooms is like one of the big things. Rooms and hallways and doors, which are things that we didn't have at the last place.
Yeah.
And so it's just more of we have like 7, 8 rooms here?
Something like
that. Good amount.
We have one that's mysteriously closed. The one that's right here down this hallway, isn't it closed?
Oh.
What is that room?
The goth cave?
What?
It's like isn't there a door that's right here that's like always closed?
Oh, that's the bathroom, sir.
Oh, okay. No, but okay. It's another bathroom?
It's a door into the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Sorry, let me shut the fuck up.
If you're in the bathroom and Albert comes knocking.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, I'm
in there.
obsessed
We're
with
sorry
that.
about
That's
that.
so funny. Yeah.
When we got here, I'll say that me and Phillip helped knock down a wall. Like there was a lot of like love and care and sweat equity, as you call it.
Yeah, it is.
Gone into this place because it was a really good space, but not perfect, and so we wanted to make it a little more accessible and fun and open and breathable.
What's crazy is we had to move. We made the decision to move out of the last space without knowing what was going to happen next. We're like, we got to go. It became way too much, and we just made the decision we had to go. And
there was flooding in the old space.
Yeah,
there's a lot happening.
A lot was happening, and just like the last thing happened. We're like, all right, this is it, and we didn't know where we were gonna go. Yeah, and so I was looking for office space, and it's hard.
Yeah, it was hard, and
one day was actually physically like walking up and down the streets in my neighborhood, and there's a sign on the outside of this building that says office space for rent. Call this number, and I called it. And the landlord was like, "Are you here?" And I said, "Yes." And I was like, walked up here, and I was like, "Oh my God, this actually could really work." I didn't think about. I was like, I don't know if we'll be able to. We were like, Robinson Space will be take a pause for a while, be like, I don't know, float around town.
We didn't know. Honestly, we just jumped.
But like we weren't looking for space, but then this space kind of like
opened up,
was here, and we found it. Yeah.
It was meant for you to see that sign.
Yeah, and then we all walked through it, and then we brought a couple people through it. You came through, and I was like, "What do you think this could work?" And it's like, I think this could work.
I'll be honest, like, I was kind of like, I was very MIA in the beginning of the year because I lost my brother in January, and a lot of I was out for probably a month or so, and I didn't see the space for a long time. Nina was just sending me photos and stuff when you guys were doing the walkthrough, and I just trusted your judgment. I just trusted all of you to find a space that felt good for us. And so
when you were walking through it, you could kind of see,
you could feel it, right?
Yeah. There's the mutual aid storage space.
Yeah.
We're currently in the podcast room. This was like immediately, it's just like, oh, we could totally turn this room into something cool.
Yeah.
Like there's a big space for the meetings and stuff like that. It just like,
it made sense.
Picture it happening.
Yeah, it made sense because it feels like an organizing space.
Yeah, it's an organizing space, and I think that's what we kept saying. We're like, the work is going to be deeper here, and I truly believe that.
Yeah, I think phase one came with a lot of holding on to preconceptions of what space could be because we were thinking about event spaces, we were thinking about like music venues, we were thinking about mutual aid storage spaces, and we were still holding on to preconceived ideas of how to use the space, and it wasn't a year and a half of doing it taught us what we need and what makes us come together. And so phase two is rooted, and the foundation of this space is rooted in what brings us together and what's the stuff that keeps us going. And so the work that we're doing here is the space is facilitated by the work we're already doing.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to Phillip though. He is so fucking handy and so like good at fixing things and putting things up. Like that's a big part of like the old space and this space, making it look the way it looks and work the way it works. So thank you for that too, man. You're so invaluable to this space.
So much YouTube.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, even when we walked through it that first time, I was like, this is like cool, but we put a lot, it's way cool. People are very impressed. Yeah, they're very impressed.
There's a lot of late nights, like turning off all the circuit breakers and like ripping out drop ceiling. Finding places where there were electrical wires that caught on fire and somehow miraculously not burned down the building.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Los Angeles commercial real estate is an interesting.
It's very interesting.
Learning
super
lot there.
Check your electrical.
Yeah.
I think I'm excited about phase two because at least on the Polo's end, like our sort of the vision that I have for being here, I definitely want to bring in more educational sort of like grounding for food justice work. Really like I really want to provide a space for younger organizers to learn from me. And just, stuff I've learned, I really want to share that with the young folks just because I definitely want to see, I mean, really the goal for Polos is really just to create a model, right? A model for us to be able to build. And the way that it runs is really we incubate projects across different neighborhoods, but the project has to be held by community leadership and people who live there.
Me and Melissa both decided last week, 2 weeks ago. Well, I decided I'm a 5-year exit plan for both of our
5-year exit plan. Because we I think like kind of holding, like I feel like both of us are like this other podcast, but it's basically like we're kind of like I think our style of leadership is called transformative leadership, where we really want to lead from a place where we are providing space and tools for people who work with us to really feel like they are fully empowered. So that way, because for us, we're not, I'm not like interested in being an ED for 20 years, 25, 30. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, the times require leadership that moves with it. And so for me, like, even the way that Polo's, like, year two of Polo's, I knew it wasn't mine anymore. I'm just the motherfucker who keeps the lights on.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's
You
just
do
my
more
role.
than that, but yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. No, I mean, come on. Like, I'm trying to, like, be really humble about a lot of shit, but, like, I'm being real. Like, I'm being real. Like Polos to me, I'm just like, all right, I'm just steering the ship, but, like, I'm not really, like, I already knew that, like, I have to, like, the community already holds it. And so I feel like that's kind of how we have to approach a lot of the things that we build, is that it is for, are you legit for the people? Like, is it really for the people? So the folks who are around us, we already see as leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm excited about the 5-year plan.
I know, I'm so excited about my 5-year plan. I'm trying to figure out how to do it, but once I decide
we'll do it together. We'll do it together.
I don't think any of us will ever leave PCC.
Yeah.
PCC for life, baby.
Yeah, exactly. This org is nothing without us.
Yeah.
No, I'd go that far.
Well, I think, like, I think,
yeah, it's just like about building something that's ready. I want to build something that evolves, that I'm
with the
not
time.
required.
Yeah, it's like a garden.
Yeah.
And it's not like a farm. It's not like you're trying to create a product. You're trying to create the ground and the environment that self-fertilizes and self-grows.
It's generational.
Yeah,
this is generational. Yeah. This is generational work, and I think, like, for me, I'm rematurating, like, and rooting in indigenous practice, where it's like, I ain't trying to create some hierarchy. I ain't trying to create dominance. I mean, fuck feeding America, because there already is feeding America, and it's like, I don't need to be that big or whatever. Like, no, the only way we can have equity in the food system is to be able to have hyper-localized food systems where people are growing their own food. And I'm not interested in doing this forever. Hell no. I want to end up in some farm somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I'm gonna run a karaoke bar down the street. But but no, like, going back to that though, I think to bring it back is, like, for when I started Lensco, I never really thought past 3 years, and then all of a sudden I'm in year 5, and I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen in year 10 or whatever, which is when I'm out. But I don't know. Here, we haven't really thought through that. Like, I think we thought, like, getting through a year, and then now we're starting our 3rd year, and it's like, I have no idea what to expect or where to project to go. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Like, what are we going to make 5 years of this and beyond? Like, it's kind of crazy.
Who knows?
I don't think of my life in more than, like, 1 to 2 years. Like, I really can't.
I think that's what it is, that we rooted in the things that we are doing, right? And the work we're doing, and space is necessary. The idea of third space comes into play when you think about why we need the third space, but it's not third space that we're doing. Like, if we lost this building next month, none of us are stopping what we're doing.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
and we all love what each other are working on and how we approach the work, and so that's not changing. And yes, we need a third space. We can't do this at my house.
Yeah,
I have a studio apartment, right? And so it's really not about the space anymore. It's like we've shed the idea of, like, holding an event space and looking at a calendar. We've moved into the part where we're building and growing and planting seeds and bringing more people in who can bring more energy and sunlight when it's cloudy and rain when it's dry, kind of thing. And it's really not about the rooms. It's about the people who fill up the rooms in a way that's so much more stable and regenerative and loving.
And that's the goal. This didn't happen overnight. These relationships didn't happen overnight. Like, like, if you asked me, like 5-6 years ago, if I'd be working this hard with, like, Robin.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, it's crazy. Like, Robin, honestly, is one of my favorite thought partners in this. Like, that shit. Like, even if it's not even related to Robin's space stuff, I'll bounce it off her, because it's almost like we have built this trust with each other and the vision and knowing each other.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's crazy. I think one of the things that we've learned having the third space, as both of us were in similar places in our work, yeah. And being, both of us kind of having orgs that are a little bit different or whatever, and navigating like this world.
Yeah.
We literally like go to each other about like, oh, how do you get health insurance for like an employee? Like all these things. It's like we wouldn't be able to grow our orgs without just having each other across the hall.
Yeah.
Like, and just hate how gate kept like information is about creating a business or whatever, like an organization. But even where the fuck am I gonna get that information from? Exactly. Google doesn't help me, and then no one else is gonna. So.
But even coming up with a 5-year plan for the both of us, our exits.
Yeah. See,
like that too is huge, because like even being executive directors of nonprofits, there's so much like information that's not given to you. Yeah. It is like literally everyone I've talked to who's been an ED are learning it on the fly.
Yeah.
Like, we're all learning it on the fly. And so even for you and I, like having the space, literally I'll just get off a very frustrating call and I'll just walk to her, to her office and be like, or like she'll like it's actually a sacred space, because these are conversations that can really, it's like alchemy. Like you like ingest all this stuff, energy, whatever, but having the right sort of, like space to be able to like synthesize and like work through it really allows for the work to be so much better. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think like everyone in this room here has helped grow Polos in such a remarkable way. Like, I don't think people realize how much PCC has financially helped Polos through, like, I mean, seriously, like there's just so much that, and I hope even building that transparency for people to understand that, like PCC has literally helped so many different groups, not just Polos, but so many different groups within the movement to stay alive. And hopefully we'll be able to like share that those stories too.
Yeah. Me and Melissa are starting our own podcast where we'll talk about this other shit. Yeah.
What's the name gonna be?
Well, our Wages and Woes podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh sweet. Okay.
Yeah.
Podcast form.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that too.
Bunch of shit we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, got to shout out Jason and Albert.
Okay. For what?
Right.
For being our hosts.
For being our
sure.
For being our host for the podcasts, for being just strong, smart brothers.
I love the love fest in here.
I mean, like I love everybody in this room. I love working with you guys. I love being in community with you guys. Like to me, like I never grew up with like a community like this, or wasn't religious either, so never went to church or had anything like that. So for me, it's like, oh, I get to hang out with people and like they think I'm pretty all right and they're smart and I can like talk to them and whether it's to commiserate or be sad or like talk shit. Like talking shit is one of my favorite things to do. So I love that every time I hang out with Melissa, she's like, "Oh, did you hear?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's get into it. Let's sit down." It's great.
Listen, we love the Chiefs now.
Exactly.
Right. And the people who are listening to this podcast just because they're secretly worried that we're talking about them.
Oh yeah.
Well, we are.
That's gonna be fun to keep doing. By the way, as we make more episodes.
Yes.
Yes. Man.
As we close out, I was today years old when I found out that Lens Co. was was inspired by Lens by Frank Ocean.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. If the Robinson Space had a theme song,
what man.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's a good one.
Gosh.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm like on the spot.
And this is for everyone around.
Okay, let me
Paradise City.
Paradise City.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're
Take
a
me
big
down to
GNR
Paradise.
head.
Yeah.
I love that you're like this learned doctor and you love like butt rock or whatever, or like 80s, 90s like hair metal. It's great.
I don't like hair metal.
No,
I like rock and roll.
But like, I'm saying, but like you're the duality of man, as it were, right?
Yes.
Where it's like you're extremely, accomplished, but you're like, man, that Axl Rose really knows what's up. Like, I just think it's so cool. I think it's interesting. What song would it be? I don't know. I think I don't know.
I'm like, my head is like, "Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson," as like,
sure, yeah.
So literal.
But that's kind of just so literal, yeah.
But it's also good.
Cute.
You know what? How about this? Have you guys heard "All My Friends" by LCD Sound System?
Great song.
Yeah.
I mean, it just starts really cool with like a piano thing, and then it builds up. What you know? What you probably know James Murphy, right? Phillip used to be a musician in New York City, so he can tell you stories about like every major musician out of there from like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, but I think that song.
What was that song? I Was There, man. Isn't that LCD song?
Yes. But yeah, All My Friends, I think, is a great song. Listen to it. Talks about you know, doing dumb shit with your friends. And I feel like sometimes we're just a bunch of dummies doing this, even though we're all very smart. I'm saying dummies in that we're just like, yeah, let's figure it out and see what works. And why not make a podcast room in our space? And it's been paying dividends as far as I can tell. So it's good.
I just thought of, I don't know why Electric Relaxation by A Tribe Called Quest came into my head.
I love that song.
I love that song. But I also that's the vibe I feel when I walk in here.
Yeah.
My nervous system, like, you know how when you walk into like, remember when you walk into like your old office space or just other office spaces and it's toxic as shit and your body already clams up as soon as you get out of your car, walking to the parking lot into the office. Here, I literally I feel like I relax and clench my jaw. I'm around my people. I'm able to do the work. And I think like that is so important to be able to do great work. So that to me, I feel like it's just a vibe. It's like such a
Jason,
good
what
vibes.
song are you gonna pick, dude?
I came up with a question. I should have a song.
You're free pass on this one.
I'm gonna say "All Right" by Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that saying when I come in the episode, we gonna be all right. Like,
Yeah.
seeing all the people.
You need a better one.
Yeah, Paradise wasn't my song, by the way.
It wasn't. It was your. Okay.
I said
Suggestion.
Mrs. Robinson, which I think is kind of cute.
I think mine is Pursuance by John Coltrane on Love Supreme.
Whoa, how's
kinda what
pretentious of you?
Deep cut. Deep cut.
Deep cut. Wow.
Pretentious.
How long is that song? Like how many minutes?
Longer than this podcast.
Well, before we close out, so where can people find you guys? Where can they find Robinson Space? Where just all the plugs.
We got in Instagram is kind of where we're semi-active for Robinson Space. Yeah.
And also, are we on Twitter? You're on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on Twitter. And I think it's at the Robinson Space, maybe. Yeah.
And then Lensco, where can they find Lensco?
We have an Instagram. It's lensco.la or _LA, one of those. And but we also have a new Instagram for our youth campaign, Young People to the Front, which is, you should follow that one for sure.
I love that.
Melissa, what about you?
So it's Polo's Pantry LA on IG, POLOS Pantry LA on IG, and then on Twitter we're just Polo's Pantry. We don't have a website right now, so I want to donate to us.
Phillip, do you want to be found online?
If I want to be found online, no, find me in person at Skid Row People's Market.
There we
go.
go.
Yeah.
Find me in person at the Center for Peace and Healing, run by KO and Pastor Q in Skid Row. Find me in person doing Power Up with J-Town Action and Solidarity on Saturdays.
The busiest man I know.
Yeah, seriously.
And online support La Defensa, who's working to bail reform, prison reform, and just abolish carceral systems overall. Super inspired and work for them now. And find me, in person occasionally at City Hall, yelling and getting arrested for calling out KDL's blatant racism.
Yes.
Wait, Board of Supervisors?
Yeah.
And now I'm at the Board of Supervisors, but that's more for work.
And you also started a shift at Fatburger every now and then.
Yes.
Some extra scratch. Yeah.
Wait, but also Phillip
Jollibee
does a lot of our stickers.
Oh,
is
that's
our
true.
sticker designer.
Yes, we still have a Patreon.
Phillip, sometimes I have crazy ideas, and you're able to translate them into
A visual
graphics.
format.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a lot of what I do. A lot of folks.
Crazy ideas.
He's a graphics master.
But people should join our Patreon and get the stickers in the mail.
Way to bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
We
of
got
my best work.
Yeah.
When I am long gone, I want people to remember
the stickers.
that weirdo who made all the parody ACABs.
Yes.
Great legacy, man. Great legacy.
Great legacy.
Yeah.
And you also designed our logo.
That
for
is
the
true for
podcast.
the podcast, dude.
Yeah, for PCP.
Yeah.
City
The
Propaganda.
fourth version because Jason was not satisfied.
Jason hanging around with the notes.
I'm a little picky. Hey, but this one came out amazing.
Yeah, it was.
You know.
You can find us at peoplecitypropaganda@gmail.com. Let us know how we're doing. If you like the show,
Yes.
who you want us to have on, any local activists or a topic that you want us to cover. I think we're going to try to do a topic with a guest who is part of that work. Obviously, we have deep connections to a lot of people in like BLMLA and people around the city. So we're going to have all of our friends on here. I think we're going to probably stick to Twitter and Instagram, People City Council. We may start our own People City Propaganda. Like
one is being repurposed.
One's being repurposed. So
yes.
Find us on Twitter and Instagram, but find us at People City Council as well. We still tweet a lot. We are trying to do more in-person direct action stuff. We're talking shit to elected officials and all that. So come fuck with us. Come follow us. We love you guys. Jason, would you like to say anything else?
That was perfect. And we look forward to you tuning in the future.
Yes, and we're going to be doing this a lot. This show is very fun. And fuck the police. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.